Hannah, thank you so much for joining me and welcome to Faces of Fintech. So in this video series, we're interviewing the tastemakers and the innovators behind the UK's most groundbreaking digital solutions. I can't wait to hear more about your journey and learn more about your mission to help businesses improve and achieve their goals. So to kick things off, I'd love to hear who you are, what do you do, and why do you do it?
I'm Hannah Dawson. I'm the CEO and founder of Futrli, and we build forecasting, prediction, reporting software for small businesses and, of course, the accountants who support them. So anything you want to know about planning for the future, that's where you would come to us.
Perfect. And just away from the fintech technology for the time being, would you mind just sharing a bit about what you do away from that, if you have any hobbies, any interests?
There is wine in my fridge, so that's a thing.
You will love that.
I have 3 teenagers who are 14, 15, and 19 who are trying to bring me to an early grave. So I hang out. I don't know. I guess I work out back on that this year after a hiatus last year of not being very well. But hang out with friends, enjoy the moments that I'm not working. Spend some quality time with my husband, and actually Helen, who is our COO, is also my best friend, so we tend to see each other a lot as well, in and outside of work.
Oh no, that's lovely. I love that. So to start off with your journey, prior to developing the fintech software, what is it that you were doing?
So my background was in hospitality. I bought a pub when I was 26 in Devon, as you do. And I guess it was through that experience that the idea was born for this business. Nearly lost it because I didn't forecast VAT properly. And, the cloud revolution happened. And rather than, just wait for someone else to create something, I took the rather mad decision to try and solve the problem myself. And so here we are 10 years later.
So you definitely made the right decision then. But going back to what you said about not forecasting the VAT, I mean, there's probably so many businesses who are in that situation at the moment who have done that. And so thank God you did. You were the first person to obviously bring that to life and help businesses who are in that problem.
Indeed.
So what inspired the move then? Was it like going back to what you just said about being in the hospitality sector and not forecasting for that VAT? Is that what inspired the move then to a fintech software and Futrli, of course?
Yeah. I mean, it was the reason for it. It was something that I became a spreadsheet whiz, but I was always working in, laggy data because I had to wait for month end to happen. And then maybe my accountant was doing something, but I never felt that I had real-time information to make the best decisions. And I think that as much as you can be on point in your accounting system, it's still looking backwards. However you hash it up, it's looking backwards. And, you can make mental, like, hold on, that's probably due at this point and that's due at that point. But when you've got a lot of moving, parts to a business, irrespective of size, frankly, because a small business can be just as complex as a large business.
Yeah.
If they're invoicing every day or if they're, a retail, a shop, for instance. So it was definitely the spark for it. I mean, a lot's gone under the bridge in between times, but I think the greatest thing was just kind of realizing that I wasn't alone. I'm not the only one. And often as an owner of a small business, you do feel alone, and you think that and advisory wasn't really a thing then. It's still in its early days as a practical helpful barometer of I've got an issue, can you help me with it, or being proactive. It's still something that a lot of firms are still just trying to introduce, and often it can be reactive rather than proactive. So you don't small businesses failing at 50% or more as has been in the past. Obviously COVID's ramped up that for some sectors massively. It's just because you're kind of lost my train of thought there. When being alone, being proactive, from an accounting perspective, I think just as having that ability to answer your own questions was really important.
100%, definitely agree. Well, just on that, I'm sure for many business owners and of course fintech founders, and especially within the female category, you are obviously a huge inspiration. So it does make you realize that very few women work in the fintech industry or are founders, and that is changing now, obviously. But was being a female within this industry, was it scary? Was it intimidating? Because obviously when you think back to when it all started, it was mainly a male area with fintech.
I'm going to say no and be controversial.
Yeah.
I think if you're crazy enough to set up any business, whether you're female led or not, you're the boss, right? The buck stops with you. I think where a lot of gender inequality happens is within larger corporations. Now, having said that, going through VC raises and all of those sorts of things, that was intimidating, but I think it was intimidating because it was the process was just intimidating, not necessarily because I was female. Now, having said all of that, yes, I've suffered from imposter syndrome, but I think that men do too. Yeah. And so, what I would say to any female founder is just leave the gender at the door if you can, and just be yourself and be confident in yourself. And if you don't know, learn, read up. I remember taking, books out of the women's library before Amazon became the thing that it is, and Kindles and whatnot. So the first term sheet that I got, I bought a book to, read Understanding a Term Sheet, because I wanted to feel empowered with knowledge. And so I think that's often where it happens. Now I think you'll meet a-holes along the way, irrespective of gender.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Yes. So no, for me, being a female has never inhibited me. I think the only thing that has is just myself, and not that.
Yeah, I mean, you must be hugely, immensely proud of where you've come to today. I mean, from obviously starting in the hospitality to owning an amazing piece of software. That must be so great.
It's funny, really. You don't, but when you step back, and I think Christmas time is always a good time because you're actually, properly stop, and the world stops. So then there's maybe a moment of reflection. I think when you're in the weeds of it all that you think about are the things that are potentially going wrong or problems that you need to solve. You're not sitting there patting yourself on the back.
Definitely, yeah. No, of course. And you mentioned that you have 3 lovely children. Am I right?
Well, I said I have 3 children.
I'll put the lovely in there.
No, they are. Yeah, absolutely.
So do you find balancing the family life and obviously being a fintech founder, do you find that hard, or have you now found that balance?
I think because my kids are older, I mean, one of them's at university now, so, there's only 2 in the house.
Yeah.
In the past, I've had to put the business first, and the kids know that, and that's really tough, but it's just something that is a reality of life, unfortunately. It's made them more resilient. It's made me more resilient. Yeah. But there have been tears on both sides over the last decade, for sure.
So how did you find that balance?
Being a united front with my partner, I guess. My husband's been an absolute rock throughout it all, and been hugely supportive, and picked up slack when I've needed to, not be here or work late or whatever. So he's been, how people do it as a single parent, I don't know, like genuinely. So he's been amazing. And just forcing the balance, having compulsory fun days, which just make them, which it was great when they were younger. We're going to do something. And now it's like, oh God, what are we going to make? But we do enforce that occasionally. At least I mean, not that often. It's probably not even once a month, but we do, what we do always is have dinner around the dinner table with the TV off, and so we talk then. So that's a big part of our day.
It's exactly like my family. I mean, we're working all day, and then when it comes to dinner time, that's when you sit down together, you talk, and it's lovely. I think it's nice.
That's the only way you find out what's happening in their lives, really. And then, of course, as soon as they can leave the table, they will do. But there's been the sequence of information starts to filter through. So it's been really important for us.
That. Oh, lovely. No, I'm definitely on the same page with you on that one. So now going further into Futrli, for our viewers who are watching and have not yet used it, would you mind just explaining a bit further to us what it is and how it works?
Sure. So if you imagine every day when you're running a business, you're creating information in your accounting package. You might be raising invoices, new customers, when you're paying your customers, your suppliers, when your customers are paying you. All of this feeds into what we know as the profit and loss balance sheet and cash flow, right? So, how's your business doing? Is it doing well? Are there any pinch points? Are there things that warnings that you need to pick up on today? All of those things our software sucks out, and then Predict, our new software package, automates, it analyzes all of that information, it looks for trends, and it basically does all the heavy lifting for you so that you've got a base forecast to go, right, if this still continues, this is where my business is going to be. Now, you always know more about your business than we do. It's not called Futrli Sidekick, sadly. I wish it was, but it's not. So then we allow the ability for you to overlay your own, assumptions, new things that are happening. I want to take on this member of staff, but can I do it this month or next month? All of those things, so that effectively you've got a place which hopefully you log into. It makes you feel calm. You see how your business is doing, you log back out again. That's really how it should be used. However, you've also got the opportunity by using our software to do things like raise funds. If you need to apply for a loan, or you've got investors that you want to approach, you're going to need a forecast for that. So having the full three-way balance sheet, profit and loss balance sheet and cash flow, is really important. What we also noticed over time, because we've got another product called Futrli Advisor, which is kind of our first product, is that for those businesses that really need to screw in on the short-term cash flow, understanding when due invoices and bills are hitting the business, and being able to maybe, if we push that out, are we okay? If we bring that forward, is that better? Can we contact our customer and see if they can pay a week early? Can we contact our supplier to push that out by another month? That being able to then see the immediate impact on cash if that thing happens is something that we factored into Predict too. So it should be a blood pressure calmer, and if it's not, it should show you where you need to highlight, to focus your attention to solve the problem that's immediately in hand.
I mean, talking about a blood pressure calmer, so at Raffingers, we use Futrli, and we're always recommending it to our clients, like even through the pandemic, obviously, when nobody knew, who was going where and needed like a cash forecast, we were always using Futrli. So what would you say, how does Futrli assist accountants with offering the advisory services, and how does it also improve that relationship with the client?
Sure. I mean, accountants have got a tough job on their hands because you've got compliance, right? And compliance means you need to comply or people go to jail. So we know that will always take primary focus. However, numbers can often be a scary place for small business owners. And in meetings I've had going back 20 years with my accountant, I just felt intimidated. I didn't know what questions to ask. Often, well, not often, always, when your accounts are pushed through tax preparation software, when you're then signing these are my accounts for the year, they don't even look like your business because the whole format's changed. So being able to have a dialogue in real words about real things that can affect real change for the business. And let's just remember, I mean, you asked about my family. Every business has a family behind it.
Yeah,
that's why you're doing it. You're not doing it for fun and games. You're doing it to make your family's life better. And so if you can alleviate stress, identify growth opportunities, just fix a problem, like we've got a credit control problem here. Can we do something for you on that? Can we help you out with that? It just needs to be really simple language. And then of course there's a ton of things that can spin off the back of it, and equally, compliance work that will potentially, wealth management, tax planning, all of those sorts of things will happen off the back of it. But advisory software for me should just be a conversation starter to say, how are you doing? Yeah. What are you worried about? What are your plans for the next 3 months? Where would you like to be in the next year? And how are we going to get you there? It's that simple. Doesn't need to be more complicated than that. And then the software is there just as a background. It's there to do the heavy lifting for the data preparation, because that's not the accountant's value. It is for compliance. It totally is. And so sometimes there's a mind jump that has to be, there has to be a bridge to go around, just to go, well, hold on a second. If I'm not preparing the data, then do I have any value? Well, yes, you do, because you haven't got the brain that the small business owner has. They want to be off running their business. They don't want to be bogged down in numbers. I still don't want to be bogged down in numbers, and I love numbers. I love forecasting, but I don't. I want to know that I've got a machine that's ticking, and that if I know that there's just to get that peace of mind. And then if there's something that, hey, that's a good thing that we could do, or we need to sort this thing out before it causes us problems, I know that that's happening as well. Yeah. So we use our own software, of course, and it's on a rolling basis. So every month the forecast is tweaked. Who's coming in, who isn't? Do we need to adjust the sales targets? What's realistic today? I've never understood setting a budget at the beginning of the year and then never touching it again. Because businesses are living, breathing things. And so that ability to have a sense check, really, that's what it's there for. And the accountants helping the small business with that sense check.
100% agree. I briefly spoke about how we've obviously helped businesses during the pandemic, but I mean, we use it all year round for SMEs, for startups, for businesses who just genuinely want to know where they are on a monthly or quarterly basis, just so they can plan. So do you think that if a business does want to plan for the future, they want to know where they are, that forecasting and Futrli is definitely the right tool for them?
Well, in my opinion, any small business that starts should get a cloud accounting package, number one, and they should get their forecasting software, number two, before they think about CRMs, before they do all of that, because one is about the past and making sure that, you are compliant. And the rest of it is literally the future of your life, your business, your family, all of those things. Unfortunately, there's no gold standard when you set up a business, and it's not something that every accountant advises, and they should. I think that there's a diligence piece and a duty of care piece to go, well, how are you going to make decisions then? Because, a spreadsheet that's not working out your tax, and it's not working out, all of your forward VAT, go back to my story, didn't calculate VAT properly, did I? Had a spreadsheet, didn't work properly, and having formula errors and all of those things, and the time that it takes to maintain those manual methods, you don't need to, plug and play, suck out the data. You tweak it, you're in control, you own the numbers, you tweak and as you see necessary, then you make decisions about what you need to do with your business. But otherwise, you're doing it on gut, and that's risky.
Yeah, I mean, the amazing thing is Futrli syncs up with your cloud accounting software. So going digital really is the way forward to keep on top of.
It's 2 clicks. Yeah. It's 2 clicks and you've got it. A few minutes later, you've got 3 years ahead. Now go have some fun with it. No. Where do you want to be? How are you getting there?
So we briefly touched base on the predict function. So I did just want to go into that a little bit more. So would you mind just giving me a bit more information towards what it does and how it works nicely along the advisor function of Futrli?
So sure. I think one thing that we noted with Advisor, our Futrli Advisor product, whilst it's brilliant and creates dashboards and reports and all of those things, that you still have to create a forecast manually. Well, that takes time, and it's also costly for the small business, for the charge out rates and whatnot. Where actually the real value then comes, the value is in the meetings, it's in the discussion, it's in the problem solving, it's in the what do we do with this information. So Predict was born from solving the accountant's pain, i.e. if you can provide advisory services to more clients by using software that automates the heavy lifting for you, and you can train them on how to do it, you could do it, so you can train client managers on how to do it, but the value is in the conversations that are had and the action plans that come out of it, then let's try and do that. Now, it was supposed to take 1.5 years to build. It took 3. It's not as simple as you think to do that and make it accurate. I mean, we did have the benefit of having a big client base of accountants who could interrogate the hell out of our predictions and I've got I mean, what we know now about journals and how the weird and wonderful ways that they're posted in an accounting system all over the world. But, picking up different patterns and ignoring this one and not that one, overlaying. So it's taken a long time to kind of get it to this level. We've got our next iteration of Predict is in the works now, which is quite, well, it's not quite exciting. It's very exciting. And does even more of that plug and play to make the advisor's life simple. Because as much as, the small business is actually the end customer, if we can help more small businesses by making it easy for our accountants to help them, then of course that's what we want to do.
So for our viewers who are watching, who haven't yet used the Predict function, am I correct in saying that obviously you plug up your accounting software and then as soon as that's plugged up, pulls through all of your figures that are entered to your financials, and then based on that, you can predict your cash flow forecast for a period of time? So
yeah, I mean, it's, connect, let's use Xero as the example, go off, authorize Xero, come back to Predict. In a couple of minutes, every single transaction for the last 2 years is brought through, whether that's a cash transaction, invoices, bills, journals. We aggregate all of the customer payments, all of the supplier payments per account so that we've got that live moving cash impact, cash flow view of all transactions. There's 2 views of everything in the P&L and balance sheet. So you've got the profit and loss and balance sheet view, and then you've got the cash flow view of both of those things. So it's the whole business. And you've got a rolling 5-year window. So 2 years historical, 3 years out, and it's done, ready for you to overlay your own assumptions.
So with the 5-10 minutes that it takes to set up, you've literally got
it's hours and hours and hours of work, and then hours of work on top maintaining it if you're doing it in a spreadsheet. Exactly. For $35 exactly. It's like, why would you not? You spend more than that on your mobile phone. Okay.
No, I totally agree. So has Futrli evolved since you founded it?
Oh my God, yes. Crikey. In so many ways, as an organization, in the way we work together as humans. The products definitely have, the vision for our future and what's the possibilities of what we can do and how we can do it to make sure that, you don't need to click much. But you also have the confidence, because one thing that was super important for us with Predict is that we had to explain the predictions. So every single cell that's predicted, you can, and it will be for every single account in the chart of accounts. VAT is calculated for accruals and cash schemes. So again, all of that horrible, janky stuff that you don't want to do in a spreadsheet is done for you. But if you click on any cell, this number is explained. And so you can say, okay, well, and there's lots of different algorithms that will have gone into that being created. If you don't agree with it, that's fine, because you still know more than we do. You just toggle it off and create your own. But the great thing is that whatever you create, it's flowing through the profit and loss balance sheet and cash flow. So it's all of that heavy lifting is done for you. There's a full accounting system in the background. So we do exactly what your cloud accounting system is doing.
Amazing. And when you first started Futrli, how many people were you working alongside with compared to now?
Oh gosh, well, I mean, it was me and 2 student developers at the beginning. And now, so we've gone up and we've gone down. I think we've become really efficient as an organization. We've also, lots of organizations had to make redundancies through, the tougher times that we've had. And we've been on a journey too. And it's not always been nice. It's sometimes been really, really hard. But now we've got a fairly small team, but they're brilliant, and we all get on like a house on fire. We had a fantastic Christmas get together where some people had been working together for like 18 months and never met, so we flew everyone over to Brighton, and it was brilliant. And just it really does feel like a family. We've had some people with us for 7 years. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's the thing though, when you've got like a small team, even though you might not have hundreds and hundreds, you're so close because there's only a couple of you, and you're with each other every day, or talking.
And equally, you don't necessarily need a massive team when you've got software to do heavy lifting for you. So we eat our own dog food, and we refine our processes and use if we need to move software, we move software. So we're always kind of on the pulse of what's the most efficient way to run the business.
Yeah, definitely. Did you go out for your Christmas party in Brighton?
We did.
Where
it was great. We went to we took the top floor of the Joker, and so we had a games room and our own bar, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Too many cocktails were drunk.
Oh no, at least you had one. Many people, obviously, they cancelled, didn't they, because of everything? So it's amazing that you had one.
Yeah, we all LFT'd beforehand. It was fine. No one got COVID from it. So yeah, it was good.
Lucky. No, that's amazing. I mean, I've never been to Brighton, but I've heard it's meant to be amazing, as in they've got great pubs, bars and things. So
I couldn't leave now. I'm embedded to the place. Yeah.
There's a beach there, right?
Yeah, oh God, yeah. I mean, it's not a real beach. It's got shingles.
Oh.
So it's not quite like the Devon ones or the ones in Northeast Scotland that I'm used to, but it's still gorgeous and great fun, and it's just a super vibe.
Are you near the beach, or are you a short drive away?
I am. I'm near Preston Park, so we're kind of, I'm 10 minute.
Lovely. Yeah.
Bike ride. Yeah, it's not far.
Oh, that's
20-minute walk.
Yeah, I mean, the closest that I have to a beach is probably a park, so bit different, but I'll take it. So just moving away now from Futrli, would you mind just talking me through a couple of your big successes? What are you most proud of in life? It doesn't have to be Futrli, it can be personal, anything that you can think of.
Okay. I should probably say my children. My eldest went to university this year, and she's studying medicine at Bristol. So I'm quite proud of that. Yeah. Even though it was her that did the work to get there, but I did produce her, so I'm taking some of the plaudits. Surviving through all of the house renovations that my husband's put me through over the past few years. We're now in the forever one, and I refuse to move again. Renovations are still ongoing, but I've dug my heels in. What else am I proud of? I don't know, I guess just keeping my resilience, I suppose. Yeah. Which it has been super tough sometimes, and sometimes you do feel really on your own, but stopping, having two of these and one of these, listening to feedback, growing, changing if you need to, it's been I'm certainly not the person I was when I started the business. I wish I had this knowledge then, of course, but I don't. So, we're just doing it as we go now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look how far Futrli has come. So you say that you wish you started off with that knowledge, but I mean, maybe it's a good thing that you didn't, because obviously as you've gone along, you've got the feedback and you've grown with it. So there's amazing. So what is the best piece of advice that you've ever received? Is there anything that really resonates with you that you could share for the viewers who are watching now?
Oh my goodness. I mean, that's a big question, isn't it? I know. Probably just touching on previous experiences and stuff. My advice to anybody starting out in business would be to forgive yourself. And just, and listen, have some humility and just listen. Don't assume that you know everything, because you don't, but learn, because knowledge is power. So there's probably about 5 things in there, just all melded in, but yeah, you'll need to forgive yourself probably a few times, and you need to make sure you can do that.
For sure. So what has been the toughest challenge you've experienced within this industry?
I'd probably say staff, and managing staff, hiring well, hiring badly, because that happens too. Having to go through redundancies, that's heartbreaking when, situations change in the business. So yeah, people generally are either a hugely positive part of my job, and they are certainly today, but in the past it's been challenging, and just getting the right people, and understanding what right means for your business and your culture.
Yeah, definitely. Do you mind me asking though how you overcome those challenges that you did experience? Helen and I talk a lot. Doug and I talk a lot. Doug's my CTO.
we do though, but we counsel each other, and it's, nothing's ever made individually, no decisions made individually. And, we've got a really thorough hiring process, now as well, which is, has been in place for some time. But even then, you're still not necessarily going to get things right, because how someone interviews versus what they're actually like in their day-to-day can be totally different. So working as a team to manage the team.
Perfect. So now going back to Futrli, what is next on the agenda? Is there anything really exciting that's upcoming and being?
Yes. So we've got Predict V2 is coming, and it's pretty special, if I do say so myself. So it's been 2 years since we launched. No, a year. Yeah, 2 years since we launched it. No, it's not. It was a year and a bit. It was the beginning of last year that our soft launch. And so it's taken a while to get, like I said, from all of the feedback, to make sure that the predictions are accurate and actually no better than a human, and by human, I mean chartered management accountants, people who do this day in, day out could do with the information that they have. So that's been, but now the fun stuff comes. So the analysis of it, telling people where they need to look, explaining their business to them in clearer ways. We've got a total full scenarios, variances. There's a huge performance section coming. There's loads coming for accountants as well, so that we can grade all of your clients, give thresholds within which that we can trigger and say, look, there's an advisory opportunity here for this reason. So a lot's coming in the next 6 months. Yeah.
That's great. I will keep an eye out for sure. And I'm sure everybody who is obviously using Futrli and watching this will keep an eye out, because anything that, makes the lives of especially accountants easier. Yes.
Indeed. We want to take away work, but generate money for you. That's definitely the plan.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. Thank you though for sharing that. That is all I have, Hannah.
Emma, thank you. Super.
If you like this episode, go and have a listen to the rest of the series. We are Raffingers, and you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Raffingers. Alternatively, you can visit our website at raffingers.co.uk. I've been your host, Emma Cohen, and this is Faces of Fintech.